guys, Archibald Chesterfield III, AC3. Today, guys, I want to talk about Rolex. How do you grab a Rolex for 20 to 30% off on the grey market? And I've been inundated. I've been asked by people, Archie, how do I get 20? I'm talking about the Australian perspective, because I'm in Australia. And I have reported that the hot watches, Pandas, Batmans, Hulks, they've fallen by 20%. How do you get them? Well, let's just have a look at what my statement was. I didn't say they have fallen 20% below retail. No, I said they've fallen 20% on the grey market prices. So they were selling for massive premiums. They have come back a bit. They have come back a bit indeed. So the question is, how do you snag one of these bargains? Well, let's just back the truck up a bit. See, what's happened is in Australia, I'll give you the case in point. Let me give you an example. Let's take a relatively hot watch. Let's move away from the Panda, the Hulk, the Pepsi. Let's go black. That's the black GMT ceramic with the green 24-hour hand. Pre-COVID-19, they were selling 15,000, 16,000 Australian dollars. I know of 2 sales in Australia. There's a dealer in Sydney who offered somebody 10.5. And I know an eBay seller in Australia who recently sold a black ceramic GMT for 10.5. It was no box and papers. So let's just have a look at this. Now, the dealer who offered 10.5, he would have sold it for 12.5, 13.5. Okay, they were previously selling for 15.5. Now, what has happened, which you've got to realize this, is we have had massive falls on the Australian dollar. So the currency component is probably 10% of the reduction. So the dealers in Australia, anything you buy in Australia automatically in a US dollar price is 10% cheaper because the currency has fallen. It was down to 56, 55, 56 cents. It's gone back up a bit, about 60, hovering a bit over 60. Hey, Google, what is the exchange rate for $1 Australian to American dollar?
1 Australian dollar equals 62 United States cents.
62 cents, okay. So before COVID, this was high 60s. We were talking much higher 60s. Now, the thing is, prices are definitely down. Dealers who are buying are paying way less. They are paying way less. How do you get one of these watches? Say you want a Batman or a black or a... How do you get one of these pieces? Now, I got to tell you something else. A lot of these pieces aren't even going on the websites. They are selling before. So my honest to God advice is, this is the simple facts, how to snag a Rolex at 20 to 30% off the usual grey market price. I didn't say retail, I said grey market price. Number 1, ignore the Facebook forums. Prices on the Facebook forums are fucking fantasy land. They are fantasy land prices. Do not think you'll find any bargains there. They are fantasy land. Number 2, you have to understand that prices anything you buy in Australian dollars now is about 10% cheaper than how it was several weeks ago because of the fact the Australian dollar has devalued. Number three, how do you get one of these deals? Relationships are very important. The best thing to do is to email or ring your dealer. This is your grey dealer, like Vintage Watch Co, Luxury, and say, hey, I'm really keen for a black GMT, for example. But, I'm happy to go Steel Sports. Have you seen a bit of a reduction? And what do you think is a fair price to pay? If you say to the dealer, hey, I'll buy one at retail, they will laugh at you. They will laugh at you, okay? They will laugh at you and say, good luck. Okay, you've got to work with your dealer. Don't be a smartass. The dealers are in business. They know the market better than you ever will. You've got to work with the dealer and say, hey, and I'm talking proper dealers. I'm not talking some dickhead who sells on Facebook and he's put a Wix website together with a template. I'm talking proper second-hand watch dealers. Ring them. Better to ring and say, hey, I'm looking for this. Anything come up, let me know. Have cash or credit card ready to pull the trigger. You got to be prepared to pull the trigger. There's no point ringing them up, making these inquiries if, I don't have any money. That's not how it works, sunshine. You've got to be trigger happy. So if, for example, you really want a GMT ceramic, I'd ring the dealer and say, hey, I'm looking for a GMT ceramic, Pepsi, Batman, Batgirl, or a black. What do you think I would pay? And can you keep me in mind? And you've got to be ready to pull the trigger. No point lowballing him. And if you think you will get one at retail, you are fucking dreaming. I said prices have fallen 20 to 30% off grey market dealer prices. Part of that component is because the Australian dollar has fallen 10 to 15%, devalued. Part of that component is because prices have gone down. Now, the thing is, if you're going to be an antagonistic, vicious son of a bitch, the dealers don't want to. They don't need your discount business, okay? You've got to work with the dealer. If you've got to have a relationship, there's no point offering, I'll pay retail for this. They'll just tell you to get fucked. You don't want to be a smart ass. There's nothing, the world doesn't like smart asses. The world doesn't like smart asses. You got to be in there, go in there nicely, calmly, coolly, nicely. That's what you do. You go in nicely and say, hey, if you get a GMT at a good price, let me know. You don't want to be dictating, hey, I want it at retail or I want this. You're just going to be laughed out of the joint. I got to tell you something. Here's a little experiment and I want you to understand. In Australia, on a Patek Philippe World Time, the current model is a 5230. Okay? That is the current World Time itself. It comes in either rose gold or it comes in white gold. In Australia, the current retail price is $63,000. 63, that's the retail. Now, what's happened is if you go to a US dealer, US dealers now are allowed to sell on the interweb. When you convert the price of a 5230 in American dollars, convert it to Australian dollars, guess what? 78,000 Australian dollars. Currency. Can you see what I'm saying? It's currency is the reason for that. It's the currency. So Australia itself, anything in Australia here, because the people are used to dealing in Aussie dollars, they haven't quite factored in the world situation. The US currency has strengthened, it's become more valuable, and the price in Australia, because the Aussie dollar has weakened as well, it makes it very attractive. Now the problem is there's no planes, freight is dangerous, and there's a few issues there, but I'm just giving you a case in point. So if you want to get, you've got to be realistic. Too many people think they can get one at retail. It's not quite like that. You've got to understand what I say. Prices have fallen 20 to 30% off previous grey market prices. I didn't say they've fallen off retail. No, it hasn't happened. So you might say, well, that's not good enough. The discount's not big enough. Well, stay watching this channel. I will inform you as things progress. I will let you know when prices go down further, or they plateau, or they start to go back up. The basic fundamentals, if you've got 30 to 40% unemployment, massive share market losses, massive devaluation of crypto, you're going to see every asset class fall. Now, the thing is, it's a supply and demand. One thing I find very interesting is if you jump onto the Chrono 24, have a look at how many pandas, Hulks, Batgirls, Batmans are for sale, because a lot of these dealers have been hoarding this shit. The grey market dealers have huge samples of this. It also applies to the Patek Aquanaut, the Patek Nautilus, the 5711, 5712, all the hot models. They seem to have over 500 examples. Whereas if you look at a more pedestrian model, say like this Patek 5127, 5196, there's less than 100, for example, because the dealers weren't coveting them and the supply was a lot more in and out. Let's just calm. Those type of watches like the 5127, they obviously everything is going to fall in this market, but they ain't going to fall as much as, say, a 5711. Now the 5711, the Panda, the Hulk, the Batgirl, the Batman, they were way overpriced. So it's inevitable the prices will come back on that way overpriced stuff. Now, if you want to nab yourself a bargain, you've got to have your contacts. You get in touch with the dealer and say, hey, I'm looking for a Steel Sports Rolex GMT or a Stiver or this. What's happening? Just talk to them. Talk to them and ask them, say, hey, I'm in the market. I've got money. Now, don't lie, because if the dealer rings you back and you can't pull the trigger, you're going to look like a dick. But I would get in touch with the dealer, keep a good eye on what's available, and hey, ready to buy if the deal you want comes up. Now, I got to tell you, I had one guy I know, he's sort of a friend, he's not a friend. Hi guys, ArchieLuxury, and who do I recommend in America? In America, who do I recommend for quality pre-owned wristwatches? David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to davidsw.com. He is the best, the greatest pre-owned dealer in all of the United States of America. David SW, David SW, David SW. You want to get the watch at a discount? Talk to your dealer. Talk to your dealer. If you're in America, go to David SW, David SW, David SW. Go to David SW. You tell him, hey, I'm looking for one of these. Talk to him. Say to him, what's a good deal? What's happening? He'll look after you. You've got to remember, the best customers are the deals that are happening. They're not even going on the interweb. Dealers have got contacts. So if you want it, you got to talk to the dealer. You got to be fair. I think the best way to do commerce is to just be fair and reasonable. Talk to the dealer and say, hey, I'm keen on doing business with you, but you need to be ready to pull the trigger when a deal comes along. You can't just hold out, because he'll flip you. Seriously? When do I think the absolute bottom is? Well, that is impossible to pick. If I could know this, do you think I'd be making stupid fucking YouTube videos? We don't know when the bottom is. Prices have come down. Will they keep going down? Well, I'll answer that for you. Okay, so if coronavirus gets flicked in the next 30 days, prices will go back up. If 6 months later we're still in lockdown, more unemployment, more bankruptcies, prices will go further down. 2 years into it, we've got mass deaths, mass disaster. Prices will of course go down further. So it all depends on, do we solve this thing? You go and speak to the Chinese. But if you want to get a deal, my honest opinion is I wouldn't necessarily be buying a watch for investment purposes. You're probably better off, if you want to take a gamble, a punt, you're probably better off to put it into a good blue chip stock. And once the corona thing is resolved, it'll probably go back up. Probably, not absolutely, definitely. Same thing with the watches. I would say if you really want, if you don't have a Rolex and you always wanted one, hey, why don't you get one? But if you're saying, hey, I've already got a few Rolexes, I want to buy one as a specky, make a bit of money, I don't think that's the right way to go. Okay? I don't think that's the right way to go. So, in all honesty to you, prices are less, but will they keep going down? It depends how long this thing goes for. We don't know. Ask the Chinese. They invented this fucking COVID-19. So it depends on them. I think it may get worse. Prices, I think it's going to drag out a bit. I honestly do. I don't think it's going to be easy fixed. I think we're probably going to get worse for the next 3 to 6 months. Then it'll start to improve. But what the fuck do I know? What the fuck do I know? I ain't a millionaire. I am definitely not a millionaire. I'm definitely not a crystal ball holder who knows the future. I got 5 Pateks, but this is the reality. Would I buy now? I'd buy now if you've always wanted one. It's nice to have a Rolex. I'm a Patek person. Patek and pussy. That's what I want. I want a Patek on my wrist and I want to fuck every night. That's what I want. That's it. That's all I really want. As for your demands for a Rolex, I don't. Rolex is kind of... Once you've gone to Bentley or Rolls Royce, do you really need a Mercedes? That's the question. But I like to humor you, and the ratings are very good in Rolex information. So my opinion is they've gone down. Get in touch with the dealer. Don't be a dick. If you're going to be a dick, you will miss out. Let me give you a dick story. Do you want to hear a dick story? I got this email to me. A guy in Perth got the call up for a Rolex Submariner date. This is a guy in Perth. And they're filling out the paperwork, and he said to the sales associate, did you know these watches are selling for thousands more on the secondary market? That's what he said. The manager overheard him and said, excuse me, we don't believe this watch should be sold to you. we're cancelling this transaction. They cancelled the sale because he opened his fucking mouth. Keep your mouth shut when you're in the AD getting the product at retail. Don't Skype, don't big note yourself. It's uncool. Personally, you want to buy one from a grey market dealer. There's many good dealers in Australia. Ring them up, talk. Don't go in there and say, oh, anything at retail I'll have. They'll tell you to get fucked. They'll laugh at you. You just say, hey, I'd like to get a blah, blah, blah. Any good deals? Have prices fallen? Just be nice. Don't be a smart-ass cunt. Be nice. And you may get the call. You may. Do I think they're going to be a bargain? Rolexes are expensive. They're not going to fall. You're not going to... I personally, what do I think? I don't think you will ever see the hot models at retail. Okay, in the next 5 years, I don't think you will see Pandas, Hulks, Batmans, Batgirls, subs. I don't think you will see them at retail. I don't see it. Prices have fallen from the previous grey market highs, but that's very different to saying prices will go below retail, okay? There is still very limited stock. Remember this, Rolex factories are closed. They're closed because of COVID-19. If they're closed, there's a certain amount of stock floating around a bit. Once that's gone, the AD's not going to be pushing out stuff he hasn't got. Grey market dealers, you've got people who are getting desperate. Yes. But you've got to remember currency and dealer margin. Be fair. Talk to your dealer and see what you can get. So that's today's video. Okay, guys, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and don't be afraid to put some nasty comments below. Okay, guys, tell me what you think. Until next time, ciao!
Okay guys, here we are. We're coming into Brisbane Vintage Watches, my good friends. Just going into Brisbane Arcade, and we're going to go and see Ronnie. Let's have a look. So this is Brisbane Arcade. A lot of shops closed. Ooh, just closed completely. Even for takeaway, they've realised it's tough business. So have a look at this arcade here. Very, very quiet. It's very hard. What can you say? It's tough. Brisbane Vintage Watch Co. is in business. Look at that. There we go. Very tough indeed retailing. Okay guys, so let's have a talk about picking a Calatrava for a 55 to 65 year old professional. You drive a German automobile, you have a platinum or a black Amex card, and people are nice to you. You've had a few affairs, you've only been really busted once or twice, and it's time to get a wristwatch. So let's have a look at 3 classic modern Calatravas, and let's pick one. Let's pick one out of this bunch. So we've got 3 very different Calatravas. First Calatrava is a 5127. This particular Calatrava model here is a 37mm white gold. This is a 5127, and quite a cool size. Very cool size indeed. We'll just zoom in. Very cool.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Mark Goldberg for Archie Luxury AC3 The Pontiff Satin de Ville. I want to sincerely thank you for having sat through this video because I know it was awful, but you know what? You do it for the greater good of humanity. Thank you so much. Now, a couple of quick pieces of homework. Now that you've watched this video, I would like you to hit thumbs up. If you must, hit thumbs down, but if you'd hit thumbs up, I would especially appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a really nasty comment and tell him how awful this content was, but most importantly of all, the entire reason that I am linking up with Archie Luxury in the first place. I am a published author. Let dogs be dogs. Available at bookstores, Amazon, and electronically somewhere near you. Remember, Archie Luxury. He's not just a figment of your imagination.